Do you want to sell on Amazon.com but live outside the US? Well, by the end of this video, you will be equipped to sell on the US marketplace regardless of where you live. For the best tips and strategies to succeed with your Amazon business, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you know when I post a new video every Tuesday. Being a Canadian seller on Amazon.com myself, I've run into all the situations we're going to be discussing today, and I'll go over the solutions I came up with for each one. If you're a seller outside the US, keep these in mind as they'll save you a lot of headaches down the road. A quick disclaimer, I am neither an accountant nor a lawyer, and all the things I'll be discussing today will be based on my own experience. If you're seeking advice for your particular situation, I suggest you consult a professional. And finally, while I'll be discussing things from the perspective of a Canadian seller, most of what I'm discussing can be applied regardless of where you live. Alright, let's dive in. First off, if you're selling on Amazon.com and live outside the US, you're going to need to declare with Amazon that you are a non-US person. You do this by either filling out a WBEN or a WBENE, one for individuals, one for entities. This will tell Amazon not to collect income tax off of your disbursements because you're going to be filing your taxes with your home country. You'll be prompted with this form when you sign up for your account, and it's important that you fill it out correctly because it'll let Amazon know that you'll be filing your income taxes with your home country and they won't take 30% off of your disbursements. The second thing you need to keep in mind when you're setting up your business is you need to get a US-based bank account. Now, I don't mean going into your local Canadian branch and getting a US dollar bank account, which would technically work. But what would happen is every 2 weeks when Amazon pays you, they'll be sending it to a Canadian bank, which they assume will be in Canadian dollars, so they'll convert your money into Canadian dollars, charging you an exchange rate. Then your money arrives in Canada, and your home bank receives it and sees, oh, well, this is going into a US dollar bank account, but I'm receiving Canadian funds, so they'll exchange it again, costing you even more money. So what you need to do is get a bank account in the United States. Now, there are a couple options available to Canadians if they want to open a bank within the United States. And I went this route when I started my Amazon business. The fees are pretty low for the actual bank account, but what I found over time was trying to move the money was actually fairly expensive, and it wasn't very efficient for my business needs. What I'm in the process of doing right now is actually setting up an account with a company called OFX, and they have a global currency account that you can set up in several different countries to accept several different currencies, and you can have Amazon send your disbursements to that account, which then, if you choose, you can have it sent back to your home country or you can pay your suppliers. Now, what's great about this is that the fees are much, much lower than what the typical banks will charge you, and there are no fees for having your account with them. So all you pay for is the lower exchange rate. So I'm hoping to set that up soon, and I'm going to be doing a full review on that once I get that rolling. For the third tip, I'm going to give a little context first. What some experts suggest is once you source your product from a company overseas, they recommend that you have it shipped to you to go through the product and make sure everything looks right before you ship it to an Amazon warehouse. Now, if you're in the US and selling on the Amazon.com marketplace, this isn't so bad because you can have the products shipped to you. You can quickly look them over and make sure that everything's right, and then you can ship them to Amazon at a discounted rate. However, doing this from Canada and then sending them to the United States, it just isn't cost effective. So what I recommend you do, and I strongly urge you do this, is hire an inspection company to look over your inventory before it leaves your manufacturer. This will ensure that everything that you send to the Amazon warehouse is in proper order according to your specifications, and it'll only cost you a nominal fee to make sure that's the case. You won't have to worry about accepting the shipment in Canada, paying another shipper to get it to the United States, and ensuring that everything's right yourself. It's an extra fee on top of your business, but you'll be thanking yourself later when you do it. If you're already selling on Amazon, I'm really interested to hear whether or not you use an inspection company. If you did, how was the experience? If you didn't, why not? Leave a comment below and let me know. The next tip I'm going to discuss has to do with something that happens after you've already started selling, and it's the nasty topic of returns. Now, it's an unfortunate part of doing business, but it's also inevitable. You're not going to make every single customer happy. Some of them are going to give your product back. Now, when you get that product back, or rather, when Amazon gets that product back, sometimes they're in what they call unfulfillable condition. Sometimes the customers open them and the packaging is no longer resellable. Sometimes they've been damaged by Amazon in transit, and the Amazon employees determine whether or not they can resell that product. If your product is deemed unfulfillable, then it's up to you as the seller to get it out of the Amazon warehouse. And you have a couple options. One option is to ship it back to you. And you could technically take it back, make sure it's all in proper order, repackage it and send it back in. But that's a lot of money of shipping back and forth from Canada to the US for one item. And given that your margins may be kind of low at the start to begin with, it may not be worth your time and money to ship that item back and forth for one item. Therefore, my recommendation is create an automatic removal order. So basically, if Amazon deems your product unfulfillable, after a certain grace period, they'll just destroy it. And yeah, maybe it doesn't sound great to destroy the product you paid for, but in the end, it'll probably save you a lot of time and money. The next tip we're going to discuss has to do with bookkeeping. Now, if you're a corporation, you're required to keep updated books so you can file your taxes every year. However, if you're just an individual seller, this can be a good practice as well because it gives you a good overview of your business and see where your money's going. So why is this important to Canadians in particular? Well, if you're a new seller, I'm sure most of your capital is in Canadian dollars. And if you have a corporation in Canada, you'll be filing your taxes in Canadian dollars. However, all of your disbursements from Amazon will be in US dollars. So what QuickBooks Online has is a tier called the Essentials plan, and that's the one you'll need to get in this situation because it comes with multi-currency. So what it allows you to do is track both US dollars and Canadian dollars in the same application, and it even comes with exchange rates that it stores every single day. I highly suggest using QuickBooks Online. It's what I've been using. I taught myself how to use it, and it's been just simple to keep my books up to date. So, if you're a foreign seller on the US marketplace, be sure to keep tips in mind, as it'll save you a lot of time and money down the road. Now, if you're interested in trying OFX, I've got a referral link in the description, and if you sign up for an account through that link, you will be waived the $15 transfer fee on all transfers under $10,000. Check out this video over here for more strategies on how to be successful with your Amazon business. Hit that like button and be sure to subscribe if you got any value out of today's video. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.